Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining me for the Financial Coach Master Training Informational Webinar. My name is Chris Campbell, and I'm the Director of Financial Coaching here at Ramsey Solutions. And I'm generally joined by Bill Lowe, the Senior Director of Financial Coaching, but he is actually away with family doing an Alaska cruise. So hopefully he's having a really good time on that. So you've got me today. I'm really pumped up to be here with you. Guys, we had nearly 2,300 people registered for this webinar. So we're expecting a really massive turnout. And I want to tell you everything you need to know about Financial Coach Master Training. I've been with Dave Ramsey for about 10 years, and I've helped many thousands of coaches take our training, be a part of it, and things like that. So everything that I'm going to talk to you today about in this webinar is really everything you need to know about becoming a financial coach, how this training can help you kind of follow through with your passion of helping people with their personal finances. We have folks that do it as a side business. We have some folks that do it as a full-time business. We have people who take our training who want to do it just strictly as a ministry or just personal or professional development. And so I want to talk with you about everything that I've been asked over the years about becoming a financial coach and how our training can help you do that more effectively and efficiently, even if you're already working with people. So the way this is going to go, I'm going to spend some time telling you about the program and kind of educating you on the whole process of becoming a coach and how you can help people with that. And then also, I want to do some Q&A with you at the end. So I'm actually going to, throughout the whole presentation, you actually can click there at the bottom of your screen, type in your questions. I'll read those aloud and get to those at the end. Now, we'll also have folks that will be listening to this later this week, later tonight, whatever that may be. And so if you are listening to this later on, make sure that you listen to the full presentation because everything in this is extremely important. Again, we've spent about a decade building this out, making sure you get all the right information. We don't leave anything out of this webinar that you need to know about the training. So there's nothing shocking that's going to make you go, oh yeah, I wish I'd do it now, or no, I shouldn't do it now. That's not coming. Everything you need to know is in this webinar. So it's crucial that you hang in there to the end. As a matter of fact, we're actually going to give away an enrollment to this training right after the Q&A. That's how much I want you to listen to this whole thing. Okay, so make sure and listen to your name there, and we will do the drawing there at the end. So let's talk about what the state of America looks like. And what this is going to show is really what's going on out there, what people are really dealing with, and how they're managing their finances, and really what the viability of a financial coach would be. And of course, we'll get into, well, hey, would people actually pay for that if you're choosing to do it as a business? So 7 out of 10 couples do not budget consistently. Now, we just wrapped up a couple days with a group of coaches that came into town and spent some time with us. And one coach that I was working with, and actually there's two of them that do it full time. They do well over 100 sessions a month with people. They said, listen, if you get the budget right, everything else gets right. The fallacy is, the problem is that most people believe that they're budgeting, even if they're tracking expenses or they tried it once and it doesn't work. And what we've always found out from Ramsey Solutions, and I'm seeing coaches tell me about this as well, is this number really holds true. Most people don't budget. And if you don't know how to manage the money that's coming into your home, it doesn't matter how much money you make. That's why we see professional athletes file bankruptcy within 3 to 4 years of leaving their sport. That's why we see people win $300, $400, $500 million in the lottery, and on average they go bankrupt within 5 years. Now think about that. So it doesn't matter if you make $30 million a year, or if you make $30,000 a year, or $3,000 a year. It doesn't matter. If you don't manage it right, it doesn't matter. You got to learn how to manage it. And so if 7 out of 10 couples are not doing that correctly, just spending time with people on showing them how to manage their income. And guys, I've worked with people who make $40 million a year, $50,000 a month, and $2,000 a month. And every single of those categories struggle with budgeting. That's what coaches do. That's what they step into. Now, this is a kind of a crazy stat. If you're looking at your screen right now, 69% of Americans would struggle to cover a $1,000 emergency. Now, in the world I live in, $1,000 emergencies can pop up almost at any time. You know, my mother-in-law's hot water heater went on the fritz a couple weeks ago. It was $1,300 to replace it. I immediately asked her, "Did you get the tankless hot water heater? Because that sounds expensive." No, but she got one, and that's what it cost, $1,300. My wife bumped into the side of somebody. It was $500. Our air conditioner went out and the evaporator coils messed up, $2,200. That was just about back around Memorial Day. and it was 95 degrees in Nashville. You got to handle your business. Here's the thing though. Most of the things I just told you about are really not emergencies. Do I really think that my air conditioner is not ever going to go out? Is the hot water heater going to last forever, right? Is my wife never going to get into a fender bender? Of course not. Those things are going to happen. But when you fail to plan for those inconveniences that life just happens all the time to any of us at any time, well, then what happens? Well, 69% of people couldn't even cover that. And there's another stat that shows 40% of Americans couldn't cover a $500 emergency. So what do? Well, they usually put it on a credit card at 16 to 24% interest. Or let me give you another shocking stat. Did you know in America today there are 21,000 payday loan locations across America in every neighborhood in every city in America? Now that sounds like a lot, but when you put it in perspective of there's 18,000 McDonald's. Let me say that again. There's 21,000 payday loan locations. There are 18,000 McDonald's in America. Put those in perspective. Those folks are charging a 100% interest. Most of the people who go to them, they're trying to float something. They get an emergency like what we're talking about, or really an inconvenience, and they're opportunists. They're right there. Now, think about this for a second. Right now, on our site listed on daveramsey.com, we have about 570 coaches. So if you ever think, wow, I wonder if coaching's oversaturated, or I wonder if there's a need for people with help with their personal finances, how in the world do payday loan locations have a brick and mortar building, pay employees, and stay in business to the tune of 21,000 locations across America? Because people are in that position with this slide right here. Now, there's no city in America that has too many financial coaches. Think about it. If we just got to the level where they were, the program would have to grow like 200,000%. It'd be insane, right? This is really a challenge. This is what coaches work with. They're exposing with folks and showing them, listen, if we get a good cash flow plan, we get you on a good budget, we start building some buffer between you and life. Now you're starting to see how when you're working with a coach, your anxiety levels can go down. It's still the number one cause of divorce in America. Your marriage gets better. Your junior in high school now can start thinking about, where do I want to go to college? Because I have a plan for that rather than the only plan is a student loan. But this is kind of what's going on. Now, here's the shocker. 78% of people live paycheck to paycheck. Now, I'm going to be real with you. I started with Dave during the Great Recession about 10 years ago, as I mentioned. And this number was at 70% at that time. So that means it's grown by 8% in the last 10 years. Now, the last 10 years, if you're investing or if you're in real estate or doing anything like that, you know that this market is insane. Like things have been on the uptick for way longer than they ever have been. It's a really, really good time financially. But this number has grown by 8%. That represents, guys, about 30 million more Americans living in the position of paycheck to paycheck. That means if you go to church with 100 people, 80 of them are living paycheck to paycheck. That means if you work with 100 people, 80 of them are living paycheck to paycheck. Because there's always generally the natural question, well, where do you find people? Well, if you look at this stat, it's kind of hard not to find people because they're everywhere. But are you talking about what they're dealing with? Are you talking about the problems that they're experiencing? Another key example is about 6 months ago, our government shut down, and that affected about 800,000 government employees. And if you watched Fox and CNN, which I advise you not to do because it'll cause a ton of anxiety and issues with you. But if you're watching that, you would have thought that those employees missed months and months of work and many, many paychecks. Here's the reality. 800,000 government employees, the average employee missed one paycheck, and people were standing in line to feed their families. Now think about that, one paycheck. That's what I'm talking about. That's a small sample size of what the average 78% of Americans are living in. They miss one paycheck, life gets real, real quick. Well, that's what coaches, when they step into someone's life and they help them with their finances, and it's not about the numbers, guys. The budgets matter, but you're still dealing with the emotional, psychological, and relational aspect of someone's finances. That's how we make financial decisions. Your belief system about money drives your knowledge and actions. Now think about that, because everybody knows not to sign up for a 100% loan. Everybody knows that. No way. Wouldn't do that in a million years. How do they stay in business with those payday loan locations? Because it's emotional, it's psychological, it's relational. I got to feed my kids. I'm going to do whatever I have to do. But they never stop to think, well, let's think logical. Let's prevent that from happening. That's what a coach steps in and does. All right. So, guys, that's kind of the stat of America. And listen, I want to leave you with this before we step into the program. What it all looks like is that it's not all gloom and doom. You know, there are some people out there that are really getting a ton of help. The light bulbs are going off. If you watch the Dave Ramsey show, you see people that are getting out of debt left and right. You see people on the debt-free streams that are doing that. But Dave's show, it's the third largest in the entire U.S., represents about 16 million people. Think about that. It's a ton of people. But in America, there are 330 million people. We're just scratching the surface. So there's some people that the light bulbs are going off. They're working with coaches. They're reading books. They're taking classes. And they're saying enough is enough. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. The pain is not worth it anymore. I want to go do something else. It's kind of that Dr. Phil moment. How's that working out for us, right? And I've been there. Maybe you've been there too. And you know when that happens, life just gets, wow, okay, I get a grasp on it. So that's what coaches do. So why FCMT Online? Why should you consider it? I kind of mentioned a second ago, but people take our training for three reasons. They want to do it for confidence. They want to do it for competence. And yes, they want to do it for credibility. I spoke with a young lady this morning who was asking about that. And she said, you know, when I talk to people, I want them to know that I know what I'm talking about. I don't want to just feel like I'm just winging it. And I get that, because when you walk into an average household and you say the name Dave Ramsey, most people know what that means. That credibility comes with that. But there's also a responsibility that comes with that, because Dave's name is pretty polarizing, right? I mean, we're pretty like, hey, listen, if you get after it, you follow this plan, we can help you. If you choose not to do it, I don't know what we can do for you in that situation. Leveraging that Ramsey Solutions globally trusted brand is a big deal. As I mentioned, Dave has the third largest radio station in the entire United States. Prolific publisher, many New York Times best-selling books. Probably the one you're most familiar with is the Total Money Makeover. It's been on the New York Times best-selling list for 16 straight years. And then he's also got the #4 podcast on the planet at this point. And then if you think about it, now think about YouTube, think how big YouTube is. His particular YouTube channel is in the top 1% in the entire world. That's where the credibility starts coming. When you have a name behind you like that, that's what we're talking about, leveraging that Ramsey Solutions globally trusted brand. We've been coaching people for 25 years. Dave Ramsey started the entire Ramsey Solution as a financial coach in his church. His first employee was a financial coach. Everything you see with Ramsey Solutions, FPU, books, everything started with financial coaching. We've been training coaches now going on 20 years. This was built as a replication program. Dave can't sit down and talk with everybody one-to-one. Can't do it. And that's why it was created back in early 2000 to help people with their personal finances in a kneecap to kneecap situation. So 25 years of doing it ourselves, 20 years of training coaches as well, has allowed us to learn a lot of valuable lessons. You're standing on the shoulders of giants from that perspective. You don't have to make the same mistakes that we made. And I promise you, we've made them. So we speak about that from a lowly, humble approach, saying, listen, yeah, we've learned the hard way, but you don't have to. Access to our playbook and coaching forms. Everything we do in our coaching practice, all the forms we use in our coaching practice, we put into this program. And it's as simple as it needs to be. I was with, again, that group of coaches the other day. They were helping somebody, and this guy was writing on a napkin at a restaurant. We were all at a restaurant, and he was writing down what to do on the back of a napkin. Sometimes, guys, that's a better form than some of our financial forms, because guess what? That shows that person's involved and they're ready to get started and they need the help and they're going to do whatever they need to do. The forms matter. We give you everything like that. But when you're working with somebody and they're desperate and they need help, they're going to do it that way. Support from Dave Ramsey's coaching team. We've had 7 coaches on our team in 25 years. That's it. We've always kind of been that SEAL Team 6. We've never wanted to have an army of people that do financial coaching inside the building. When we're coaching people, we want to be the best at what we can do. We have Lisa, Les, and Tim on our team. They are the coaches. They're the coaches that have done thousands of sessions. If Dave Ramsey, Chris Hogan, Rachel, anybody on the leadership team that has any questions from outside and they come in and want to work with Dave, they work with Lisa, Les, or Tim. And these are the coaches that are trusted illicitly by Dave Ramsey to be able to do that. And these are the coaches that walk with you through Financial Coach Master Training. One of the things we do pride ourselves on is that our coaches are not talking heads. They don't talk about what they used to do. They don't talk about something they read about once. or this should probably work. They've done it thousands of times, and that helps with the confidence and the competence. The last part about that is the community of like-minded people. So we have a couple hundred coaches a month go through our training, and they struggle with the same things you struggle with. They win at some of the same things you win with. Sometimes it's a little different, but when you're going through the training, you're able to connect on one of our development calls with one of those coaches and hear what they're dealing with. That was one of the most beautiful things when I sat with those coaches over the day. They said just being able to connect with other coaches and hear what they're dealing with and share best practices really helps with the motivation, really helps with the stick-to-itness, all those things. That's why FCMT Online is the best financial coach training in the world. Dave has put a lot of time and effort in. Our team has put a lot of time, effort, and money into this. We want to make this the best at what it can be, and it keeps getting better. So how is it conducted? For many years, people used to travel to Nashville, Tennessee to take our training and spend a couple days with us. And they always described it as drinking from a fire hose because we would do everything in 2 days. And then people would go home and launch. Now the training is 100% online. We stopped doing the on-site trainings because I don't want to do something that's like drinking from a fire hose. I want to learn it, especially if I'm trying to gain that confidence and competence. If I want to know what I'm talking about, if I want to get in the weeds on it. Now, the average person, when they sign up for our training, they complete our training in about 30 to 45 days. And you have 1 year full access to the training. So from the date you activate your training, you have a year from that date. Most people, again, complete it in 30 to 45 days. And then again, you have many more months to keep going back through the program. That's where we see a lot more confident and competent coaches than we ever have. Here's the other thing. We have coaches from New Zealand. We have coaches from Africa. We have coaches from South America. These dots on your screen are not representation of where we had coaches. We just wanted to give a kind of an overview of where we've seen coaches come from all over the world. Because again, it's not where you live finances. You see, bankruptcy is different in Texas than it is in Tennessee, just as different as in Tennessee as it is in Canada. I hung out with 4 coaches from Canada this last week as well, and they took our training. But we've had coaches from all over the world because we deal with the behavioral side of finances. Again, the emotional, psychological, and relational. There's plenty of people out there that do taxes, investments, and insurances. That's not what financial coaches do. They deal with the day-to-day pain points that plague people, yes, around the country, but also around the world. And that's why this training now is worldwide. Anywhere you can get on the internet, you can take our training. 100% self-paced, 1 year full access. So what type of background do you need if you want to do financial coaching? Well, listen to this. When Dave Ramsey was 18 to the age of 22, he did a lot of things. He got a real estate license. He did investments. He did insurance. He got a degree in finance from the University of Tennessee. And if you know anything about him, at the age of 25, he went bankrupt. Guys and gals, I've coached many, many people who are CPAs, financial advisors, CFPs. We have coached them because they do really well at what they do. CPAs, they do taxes. Coaches do not do taxes. Financial advisors, they sell investments and insurance. They do not do budgets and debt elimination. Real estate agents, well, they sell real estate. Coaches work on the day-to-day pain points. Now, those folks take our training, okay? They take our training and add it as a value add to what they do. One of my favorite coaches is a real estate agent, and he coaches other agents. He let me know, hey, look, the average agent goes about 3 months a year without a paycheck. But the vast majority who take our training are teachers, firefighters, pastors, church staff, stay-at-home moms, professional athletes. And again, yes, we have CPAs that take our training. They add it to what they're doing. They add it to, they're already doing people's taxes and they're having those conversations. And then they start talking about, well, let's talk about your budget. Let's talk about why you're having perpetual issues with your taxes. That's great. But the vast majority of people right now are taking it, are regular people just like you and I. So here's what you should understand. There isn't really a blueprint for a coach. Your background doesn't matter. Many times when I start a phone call out with somebody and they try to tell me, you know, hey, I've got more degrees than a thermometer. You should listen to me. I go, no, I want to hear about you. What have you done? Why do you want to help people? That's all that matters. Anybody can regurgitate information on a test. Anybody can pass a test. Not everybody can sit down and help somebody with their personal finances. That takes a lot of issues. That takes a lot of stuff to get in and going. Okay. That's what we're talking about here. So if your background doesn't matter, where you live doesn't matter, what does matter? And if you're taking notes, this is a really good spot right here for you to take a pause and really take some self-inventory and write this stuff down, because this is really big. And there's only three. The first one is, do you have the heart of a teacher? Do you want to see people win with their finances? One of the things when we're advising coaches is, please do not self-orient, meaning don't talk about yourself. They're wanting to be coached because they have an issue, and learning more about you does not help them get past their issues. The heart of a teacher steps back and says, no, it's more about you than it is me. Donald Miller in his book Storybrand talks about this from, there's heroes and guides. We want them to be the hero of their story. We just guide them. We should become less, they become more in the situation. It's about learning about them. Coaches have to do three things to be successful. First, understand the situation, then provide information, and ultimately inject hope into that person's life. That's how a successful coach operates. When we see a financial coach that's going, I really don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I feel like I'm not connecting with people, it's because they're trying to be Dave Ramsey on the radio and give a 2-minute answer to a 2-minute statement, and that's it. When you're coaching somebody, you really have to understand what they're dealing with, and then you earn the right to give them the right information at the right time, and then it's received, and then it's done. So they do something with it, or they choose not to, but then they really understand that you care about their situation rather than just trying to talk about you and your situation. The heart of a teacher is huge. The second is the willingness to learn. I love what the late, great Coach Wooden said. He goes, it's what you learn after you know it all that really counts. And it can't be a truer statement for our financial coaches. We've had coaches that have crazy backgrounds. Like I mentioned a moment ago, doesn't really matter, but they had every reason to go, I kind of already know it all. What could you teach me? Right. They could have said that. But they actually look at it like, man, I know how to sell a product. I know how to do a tax. I know how to do taxes. I know how to do what I know how to do, but this is a whole different layer down in the weeds. That willingness to learn, they're constantly reading. They're constantly, some of our top coaches that do 100, 150 sessions a month, they will email me their sessions that they recorded and say, give me some feedback. Tell me what we're doing wrong. What am I missing? And they're really good at what they do. But they have that willingness to learn. They're constantly striving to get better. They own their results. They want to win, and they want to see other people win. And they know they can't be the same person that they've always been if they want to change things for the future as well. Heart of a teacher, willingness to learn. The last thing is the desire to be a part of something greater than yourself. Now, this sounds like an army ploy, but really what I'm talking about here is coaches solve massive problems. I told you a moment ago that, they do it as a lot of coaches do it as a side business, or some even aspirationally full-time, or some do it as a ministry. But the coaches who are charging, they're solving big problems. In the marketplace, when you decide to purchase something, that person or industry or group is solving a problem for you, hence you will pay them. It's certificates of appreciation they're giving you, or you're giving them for solving a problem. If you go to a Sonic or a McDonald's and you pay money because you're hungry, they're solving a problem for you. If you go to a marriage counselor and you sit down and they help you kind of walk through your issues with your spouse, you're paying for them to help you solve a problem with your spouse. When you sit down with a financial coach, and we all know that the number one cause of divorce in America is money fights, isn't that worth it? Isn't it worth it? I had my pastor over the weekend. He said something very crazy. That we were doing our $38 fundraiser for kids in our town that were starving. They needed food. $38, and people were already telling him how they couldn't do it. I can't do that. I can't do that right now, Pastor. And he would confront them and say, hey, listen, text me that from your $1,000 cell phone. See, in America, we do have the money. We just have our priorities out of whack. And so when you help somebody get their priorities in whack, and they're sitting here and they're maybe not knowing who got voted off the island on Thursday night, or who got the rose on Monday night, or they don't know who won the cup last night, or they don't know who's going to win the finals tonight, but they got a good family and they know where their money's going, what's that worth? What's the stress and the anxiety? All that. That's what coaches do. That's the big problems. That's the desire to be a part of something greater than yourself. There's these three things, guys. Heart of a teacher, willingness to learn, the desire to be a part of something greater than yourself. That's what makes a great coach. Not your background, not where you live, not who you know, and not what you've done. These three things. What about after the training? And I've covered this a few times. We'll do it one more time. We see people launch a ministry. This is where they work with Pastor Bob. That's my mythical Pastor Bob. And they help him with, hey, I got people who are coming to me that think they have marital issues, but they really have money issues, or they have money issues and I need your help with it. I do this with my church, benevolence at the church. If we're going to write a check and pay light bill, then hey, guess what? You're going to do coaching with us. We want to make sure we're doing the right thing. We're not throwing good money after bad money. Again, I've had people submit into the church, hey, help me pay my $100 electric bill with a $200 a month cable bill. That doesn't work. We're not going to do that. We're going to be good stewards of our money. We launch that ministry and we make sure and help people that need to be helped. We help change behaviors with people. And we also make sure and steward the church's world. Or we work at a nonprofit, we work at a women's ministry, a prison ministry, whatever that may be. Coaches help with the finances in that area. The second is we see people launch a coaching business. Talked about this a little bit. I'm going to walk through a few things on this. Now, I've seen the average coach out there right now is charging between $100 and $200 per session. Now, a session is generally about 1 hour, and we see that the average coach will work with a client anywhere between 3 to 6 sessions. I'm seeing a lot of coaches now do like a 6-month commitment with somebody. They say that's about the average time for them to get a good footholding in their finances and get on good traction. Some of those folks even work with them well past that. But either way, these coaches are choosing to charge for their coaching practice. They're solving these big problems that we're talking about, and their time is worth it. They understand the value they bring. Now, listen, the average cable bill in America right now is about $150. That's the average. It's many times more than that, I promise you. And you'll hear somebody will say, well, I can't afford that, like we were just talking about a second ago. And that's okay. What we want to do is help them understand they can choose not to afford it. I choose not to do this, because that's where, remember that understand, provide, and inject. If I understand your situation, you said, man, my wife and I fight all the time about money, and I'm stressed out and I don't know what to do. All we do is argue all the time. I want to get some help with that. Okay. That's $100 for coaching, and I can help you get that and I really understand their situation, and I present that to them. And then they say, oh man, I can't afford that. Well, hang on, Bob, you're paying $175 a month for cable. Well, yeah, but I need that. Do you? Which one hurts worse? Now, once they choose, they can say, well, okay, I don't want to do coaching. But it's different than saying I can't afford coaching. And when our coaches do that with people, the next time they experience an issue, they go, you know what? I have a way not to experience this pain anymore if I want to do that. But they launch that coaching business. They choose to charge for that, and that's okay. Boom. They make a business out of it, and people get a ton of good help. And I promise you, my favorite coaches in the world are ones that are going, I don't know if I'm charging enough. These people are saving bukus. They're solving big problems, and I'm charging $100 to do something like this. But they launch that side business or even aspirational full time. We also see people who do coaching as just a personal or professional development. I've had Border Patrol come through. I've had people in Homeland Security. I've had banks send people through, churches send people through who just like, listen, we work with enough people that have issues in their finances. We want to be better suited to be able to handle these. Okay, that's where they take this training. So ministry, launch a coaching side business, or they do it for personal or professional development there. Now, last thing I'll say on this, a very common question is, well, where do I find people? Now, I kind of covered that a minute ago with that 78%. 78% of America are in paycheck to paycheck world. Okay. Now, listen, they don't know that even you exist. So if you talk about it, then they'll know that you exist. If you don't choose to talk about it, they won't know. Now, about a month or two ago, there was a movie that came out called The Avengers, and it was like #1 movie in the world at that point. And I couldn't walk in any one direction 10 feet without someone asking me if I've seen it yet. Now, that's a movie. That is a movie. And people would stop you, or you would have to be like, there was like statute of limitations about talking about it around people who hadn't seen it. Like, you can't talk about that yet. You have to wait 2 more days. That was a movie. When are we going to get the same passion towards something that affects people's lives, people that commit suicide over money, marriages that are broken up over money, those type of things? So when someone asks me, hey, how do I find people? Think of Avengers the next time, but do it towards finances and talk about it. Engage with people with these conversations, write articles about it, curate content on it, create a contact strategy with financial professionals like CPAs, financial advisors, and tell them what you do and what kind of problems you solve, how you can help them and help their clients. That's how you find people. Take the Avengers approach. So, all right, guys, enough of that. Let's talk about what's included in the training and what this is. Now, remember, everything I'm about to show you right now, this is what we cover during the training, and everything, the low grade fever throughout the entire training really focuses on, the emotional, psychological, and relational aspect. I'm going to show you some topical stuff, but really, it's when you're talking to that person, what are you really dealing with? What's the question behind the question that they're asking you? What are you really trying to get to? So the Financial Coach Master Training is an interactive online experience that will teach you how to coach others from crisis through retirement. Now remember, coaches don't do investments and taxes and stuff. When we're talking about retirement, we are talking about, the psychology of the investor. We do this with 13 hours of engaging videos that are led by Chris Hogan and Dave Ramsey. Chris Hogan was also a coach on our team for about 10 years. He was one of those 7. Now he's a New York Times bestselling author, big time speaker for Dave Ramsey, fantastic guy, not a talking head. That's why he's in here. Dave Ramsey, original coach. There he is. Boom. These are the guys that are going to guide you in conjunction with our coaches that are going through. So they're on video. Our coaches are helping you the other side. So I'm going to show you kind of a foundation because everybody, kind of like how we were just talking a second ago, I'm going to show you how the lessons are laid out, and they're laid out in the form of a house. And the house is really the roof, right? The roof is really the launch phase. But these foundational pieces I'm going to tell you about have to be in order if you really want to do well at coaching. So we start out with the foundations. This is where you're learning about the coaching process. When you sit down, what do you say? What do you not say? What forms do you hand over? What do you not hand over? What do you ask about? What do you not ask about? Getting to the root of financial issues. Just because someone says, hey, I want to talk to you about investing, 9 out of 10 times that's not the case. Many times they need to turn off Fox or CNN, like we said earlier, and go play with their kids or focus on their budget. 9 out of 10 times. Something has spooked them into that conversation. Getting to the root will help them with that root issue. Long and short-term coaching models. We have 1-hour models, longer-term models that we talk about and how we do coaching and how we've seen other coaches do the same thing. Coaching different personalities. We run off the DISC profile here at Dave Ramsey, and it's not about you learning more about yourself, but how do you coach another personality? How do you deal with someone who's very detailed when you're very just driven and not detailed? Or how do you deal when you're very detailed and you want to talk to someone who's not very detailed? You have to be a little more pliable when you're talking to them, and how do you help them get to it? Remember that heart of a teacher? It's about them, not us. We do wade into the crisis like student loans, #1 debt in America today, surpassed everything. Bankruptcy, foreclosures, dealing with collectors, all those things that are kind of appear scary. But again, what are the people dealing with? What are the emotions that they're struggling through? Many times they can care less about the numbers. They're having an issue with their spouse. They're losing something. They've lost a job, whatever it may be, that they're in one of these crises. What do they need to hear? What do they not need to hear? And then what do they need to do? In that order. Change their belief system, changes the knowledge and action. We also talk about future planning, estate planning, retirement, and insurance. Again, not fund A versus fund B, not go buy this insurance, but how do you coach somebody on these things? What do you tell them? What do you not tell them? How do you stay in your lane? Everybody always asks me, hey, what type of insurance should I have? Well, coaches don't generally carry insurance because they stay in their lane. They don't do things that they shouldn't be doing. The last part about that is launching. Now, everybody likes to hang out here. Hey, how do I find clients? How do I start a business? I always ask, what are you going to provide? Because we haven't taken training yet. I'm being a jerk right now, but there you go. You haven't taken the training. What are you going to give them when you do get there? This is where we start talking about prospecting, marketing, talking to people, all the things that kind of get out there. Dave talks about live intentionally when he talks about, as you get out there, the power of intentionality and how that works. But these all build on each other to help you launch and launch effectively. Nothing warms our heart more. And our motto in coaching is to train and develop world-class coaches. Our goal is to teach you how to coach, period, coming out of this training. You got to know how to do that, and that's how you launch that out. You also get to do live chats with our coaches. So the minute you sign in, you can start watching videos, but you also can start chatting with our coaches, sending emails. If you're already working with people, you can send over scenarios and let them help you with those. Or if you're walking through a lesson, guys, they help write the lessons. They've been doing these. They've taught some of these lessons. They can tell you exactly what you need to know. Interactive group coaching calls with our team as well. This is where 5 to 7 people hop on a group call together with one of our expert coaches, and we walk through the content. You get to do 4 of those in lessons 4, 8, 12, and 13. That's lessons 4, 8, 12, and 13. They're 50-minute calls, and they do role plays. We do additional insights from the coaches when they start saying, hey, hey, when you did that role play, you said this, you're going to experience this next time if you do that, right? You need to switch it up to this or look at it this way. You'll hear challenges and issues that people are dealing with and how to overcome those. There's also quizzes and tests. After every module, there's a quiz. After every total lesson, there's a test. So there's not this big test at the end that you got to pass. That's not how people learn. The way we set our stuff up helps you learn, practice, and validate what you're learning. We don't care that you can just regurgitate on the test. We want you to get it in your bones so you can help people. Okay. Oh, and by the way, let me say this one last time. I've heard Dave Ramsey on air in the last month say, I don't know, to somebody who asked a question. I hear our coaches say, I don't know on calls. I've said, I don't know. You will still say, I don't know. You'll never hit a spot where you'll know every answer to every question. It's not going to happen. But the cool news is you'll be able to know what to say when you don't know, and you'll know where to go find the answer. Real Talk webinars. We do about 1 to 2 of these every month. This is where our coaches, all 3 of them, get together, hop on a big webinar with everybody who's in the training at that point, and they go through topical stuff like fear. They break down coaching sessions. They break down a mindset of a coach. They go through topical issues that people are dealing with, and then they walk back through those with those, and they do a big Q&A. In a year, they'll do about 24 of those. That's all in addition to everything else that the training provides. And again, everything is self-paced, guys. So even these, you can register for them and come watch them at any point. You don't have to be there live, okay? Now, the calls that we talked about a second ago, those are live, but you can see a full 30-day calendar with times all throughout the day that you can register for those and be a part of those live calls. We also load this thing up with over $400 worth of kind of giveaways, basically. So I get a common question: hey, should I take Financial Peace University if I've never taken it? Should I lead that class if I've never, before I take this? The answer is no. That's not a prerequisite. We give you FPU online. You actually unlock that after lesson 2. The disc test, every dollar plus, ebooks, and more. You unlock these items as you walk through the training. I've said this probably now to most people are at nauseum, but you have 1 year full access. Again, guys, people were taking our training in 2 days. Now we see the average coach complete it in 30 to 45 days. 1 year full access from the date of activation, all the videos, team chat, coaching forums, bonus materials as well. You never lose access to the bonus material or any of the coaching forums. And I'll tell you in a second how you can get ongoing access if you want it, but I promise you this is way more than you'll ever need as far as access is concerned. You do earn a designation when you complete the training. That's that credibility piece of a Ramsey Solutions Master Financial Coach. And you also earn a certificate. It immediately auto-populates your name. That cannot be changed, so no one will hijack that from you. It's all yours. You can hang that in your office. You can use that designation on your email signature, marketing materials, website, anything you have like that. Once you complete the program, that's yours to use to associate yourself with us. All right, so had a couple of feedback, guys. If you take our training, you'll see this. We're going to survey you because we want to know, what are you thinking? What do you not like? What do you love? Whatever, right? We want to know. And Becky had sent us over some feedback, and so did John. You can kind of see their feedback. John on the right-hand side is a bankruptcy attorney out west, practiced for about 15 years, took our training and was like, holy cow, totally changed how he looked at bankruptcy and how he was helping people. Wrote a massive, voluminous letter in to Dave Ramsey. Dave read it to our team, mentioned it on the air, and just really great. I mean, it's kind of ironic that you see a bankruptcy attorney look into something like this, but he saw the value in wanting to help his clients. He had that heart of a teacher. Becky, job, kids, life's kind of crazy. She just talked about doing it at her own pace, and we thought that was really cool as well. Okay, so that is Financial Coach Master Training. That kind of covers everything you need to know about Financial Coach Master Training. I'm going to kind of hit the pause button. We're going to do one more thing before we get into Q&A, but a lot of people ask questions like, hey, do you guys send us referrals? Hey, do you guys have any ongoing development or anything like that after the training? And the answer is yes. We do have a program that only coaches who've been through our training can be a part of, and it's called our Ramsey Preferred Coach Program. So once you've completed the training, you're eligible to apply and interview for this. This is where coaches who are listed on our site in their area. We do referrals to them on multiple fronts through Every Dollar, through Financial Peace University, through DaveRamsey.com. It's great supplemental referrals. You get unlimited access to FCMT Online. We do a ton of development calls. We brought a Navy SEAL on last month. He's one of our coaches, really awesome guy. An exclusive coach community, really good. I mentioned that Facebook group. This particular program is $99 a month once you complete the program if you want to. Like I said, most people who do this generally are doing it as a side business or even aspire to do it full time. So this is an option for you. It's not mandatory. If you want to do it, there it is. Great way to grow your practice faster, easier, and better. But I see many coaches who never even roll into this program who do just fine. So the great program here. If you want that to be a part of that, it's called our Ramsey Preferred Coach Program. You actually get that designation of a Ramsey Preferred Coach as well while in that program. Okay, so that's the program. That's after you complete what you could do if you want ongoing help. Oh, and by the way, one more thing on that program, Ramsey Preferred Coach, we don't have an area of the entire country that's oversaturated with coaches. We have about 560 coaches listed on our site nationwide. Don't forget, I told you earlier, 21,000 payday loan locations. We don't have an area of the country that's even remotely close to being saturated with financial coaches. So how do you get started? Well, number one, we're going to send an email out here in just a little bit with all the details in it to help you get started with the coaching if you want to. Okay. I always get this request. Hey, what if I want to go read about the training or anything like that? If you go to fcmtonline.com, you can also sign up there as well, but you can also read a lot about what I talked to you today about as well. So FCMT Online. Now, our training used to be quite a bit more expensive back in the day. Now the training is $17.95. That covers the full training for the full year, everything you need from a launching standpoint as a financial coach. One of the things that we do though is sometimes we'll do discounts. So in the month of June, if you use that promo code right there, save 200, it'll actually knock it down to $15.95. That covers the full year, $200 off. And I got a few more bonus things in here that we're doing as well. We normally try to allot about 150, 200 enrollments. Got about 113 left for this month. So it's going really fast, about almost halfway through. So we're about halfway through the month. But if it's $17.95 is the normal price, you use promo code SAVE200, that will knock $200 more off the $17.95, making it $15.95. We're also in July going to be launching out a launch plan. Remember I was talking about like creating content creation, contact strategy. This launch plan is all about that. There's even a coach toolbox that we're going to talk about in there as well. These are good tools to help you get started and land clients quickly. All right. So the launch plan is something we're going to be sending out in July as well. That's included this month. Here's the last thing, and these are super awesome, guys. Dave carries these. If you ever look at a show, he has one of these. I've got one on my desk as well. They're Colonel Littleton leather portfolios. Super nice. Heirloom quality. They smell like a brand new baseball glove. Really, really nice. We're going to be shipping those out in July as well for folks that sign up in June. We only offer these about 2 to 3 times a year. So they're very expensive. As you can see, they're not cheap. But we'll get those out to you. And I think most people think that these are like from like Office Max, like pleather. They're not. They're really, really nice. So when you get one, shoot me an email. Let me know what you think about it because, well, most people do that anyway. You'll see what I'm talking about. All right. So let's do a Q&A. Obviously, Bill's not here with me. So it'll be just me doing your questions today. Let me pull this up real quick and I'll get your question. Hang on one second, guys. I see some of you guys have already been asking questions here. So let me just jump in. Let's see here. Sheila says, hey, is this the same training as needed to lead Financial Peace University? Actually, you don't need a training to lead Financial Peace University. Financial Peace University is facilitated. So you're pressing play on the DVD player and you're reading questions from the back of the book. We've made it very, very simple to lead that class. You don't have to take a training to do that, okay? Katie says, hey, so many people think they can't get out of debt, so they think, why try? Exactly. That's why you got to show them hope. Remember, understand, provide, and inject hope. So when you're engaging with somebody, understand them, give them some tools, and inject hope. I haven't met one hopeless situation in a decade of Dave with thousands of people. I can promise you that. That's what, your next question was, how do you get past that? That's how you do it. All right, so let's see here. Okay, 20,000. Okay, sorry, I got a few questions here that were popping in. Let's see here. Stacy says, hey, I'm really interested in taking this information and coaching to the 15 and up population in my community, high school and college. Have you seen anyone able to use this as a stepping stone to help this population? If you do not provide your training, that would focus on 15, or do you provide training? So I always, so a lot of people like to segment it in their mind, right? Hey, do you do anything for baby boomers? Hey, do you do anything for, 11 and a half year olds? I'm joking. But do you do anything for this specific group? Here's the deal. When you're coaching somebody, those three things I just mentioned to Katie are still true. Understand, provide, and inject. What do you need to understand about a 15-year-old? What do you need to understand about a 21-year-old? What are they really dealing with? What's the emotional, psychological, relational aspect? That's coaching. Coaching is very consultative in its approach. You will become a subject matter expert when you work with enough people in the age group that you want to be kind of in a niche with. Okay. Like I mentioned, that gentleman who worked with real estate agents only, we didn't provide a training on real estate agents. He was like, man, I really like this group. And he started working inside of that group. And he said, man, I'm seeing on average, they're doing 3 months a year without a paycheck. And as he would talk to them, he knew their issues that they were dealing with. A coach focuses on issues more than just talking about a solution. So if you start working with that group, taking the training and then start molding it into what you know to be true, that's how you're going to do that. You will be hard pressed to find something that's going to say, if you talk to a 12 and a half year old, here's how you do it. That you got to really delve into what they're dealing with. Let's see here. Are coaching sessions only done online or in person as well? 100% online. That's how the training is done. Let's see here. How many coaches have been through FCMT and not a part of the Ramsey for Coaches? So remember, why do people take our training? Ministry. Some want to do it as a business. Some want to do it for personal, professional development. So in that scenario right there, 2/3 of the group never even want to be a Ramsey Preferred Coach, because remember, Ramsey Preferred Coach is generally about launching a business. Those other two groups are not doing that. So it's intentionally set up that way. Are there materials in Spanish to coach people in the Spanish world? So we do not have that. A great resource for you is Andres Gutierrez. That's andresgutierrez.com. If you look him up, he was a good friend of ours, worked with me for a few years, has his own Spanish version. Dave and him have worked together on that. That's a great person to look into. Is there access to marketing when you become a coach? Absolutely. You can market all you want. I would encourage you to do it 1,000%. We talk to you about marketing, but more so, we talk to you about how to write the kind of right messaging is better than the right kind of marketing. Wrong messaging will make great marketing fail real quick. Your messaging matters more than anything. Let's see here. Tiffany says, so this training is more about budgeting, getting rid of debt, saving appropriately. Is that correct? And it's not about investing. That's correct, because most people are dealing with the main issues you listed out, not trying to buy an investment. I can throw a football in any one direction and hit an investment advisor right now. Plenty of people doing that. Should we be coaching while in step 2? So that's a good question. So the step 2, guys, if you don't know what step 2 is, that means you're still in debt. There's 2 answers to that. If you're in debt and you don't have a plan to get out of debt yet, you need to go get a plan to get out of debt. If you're in step 2 and you're in debt and you have a plan and you're working your way out of debt, sure, you can coach right there. Dave Ramsey started coaching people fresh out of bankruptcy. So you can help people in that scenario and you can totally coach. Hypocrisy doesn't come from you having debt and telling someone to get out of debt and you're getting out of debt yourself. Hypocrisy comes from you're in debt, you have no plan, and you're trying to tell somebody to do something that you're not doing yourself. So that's where your credibility comes from. If your church is involved with momentum, how does this fit in? So guys, momentum is where like a church would take most of their congregation through FPU. Churches who do something like that, it's a really good question. They generally want to have a coach on staff, sometimes multiple coaches, to help with people who have questions during that FPU launch there. How do coaches typically receive payment? This is coming from Thomas, from their clients. Most of the time we'll see them use like Stripe, they'll use PayPal, they'll use cash, different forms like that. That's generally how they'll do it. Really good question right there. Let's see here. Okay. After the first year, what are you responsible for expense-wise to keep your training updated? So number 1, you don't have to come back and take our training again. Once you earn the designation, that's yours to keep, and you're good there. So you don't have to keep doing that. People who want to do that, that's where they'll generally join the Ramsey Preferred Coach program, Rhonda, if they want to do that. But again, that's just 100% optional as well. Sonia says, hey, my husband and I are from Ecuador, and we're very interested in taking the training. So we have a really good multi-purchase discount for the coach training. For instance, if you have two people on the same invoice and you go to the store page, we'll send it to you here in just a little bit, and you put quantity 2 and then click the word update, it's going to give you a substantial discount off 2 enrollments. And then you just share the other activation code with your spouse or friend or whatever that may be. And that will give you a really good discount on 2. So we'll send that out as well. Okay. Raya says, hey, how are financial coaches compensated? Simply, they choose to charge, and then they usually charge per hour. As I mentioned earlier, average coach will charge $100 to $200 per session. A session generally is 1 hour. Most coaches meet with a client anywhere between 3 to 6 times. And Angela, good question. The cost of the course, is it payable up front, or is there a payment plan? Well, one of the things that we're about at Dave Ramsey is getting people out of payment plans. So we do not want to create a payment plan for somebody. So it is upfront. There's not a payment plan available. Here's the thing I always love to say, and I'm joking: if you can pay me, you can pay yourself, and then you'll have the money to do it. And that's really great. Let's see, Sonia, I just got your question there again. Sorry, guys, let me jump down to the bottom here. We've got just a few more minutes and we'll be wrapping up. Tiffany says, hey, great job on this. I'm super interested in doing this. I'm a total Dave nerd. Currently on baby step 4. Perfect. Payment plan question was funny from Don. Of course, that's all good. What is the next step? We will send you an email here in just a little bit. You can actually go into fcmtonline.com and enroll there. That email will be coming out here in just a little bit as well. So you'll have that. Again, if you're listening to the recording, we're not going to be sending you an email. You can just go right on to FCMT Online right there. Should you completed FPU before doing this? Nope. We'll give you that as a part of the plan, not a requirement. Let's see here. Okay. Can you talk more about how much you should charge clients? Yeah, I'll spend a second on that. So number one, there isn't an amount you have to charge clients. The average of those 560 coaches that do it on our site and stuff like that, $100 to $200 a session. Where I see coaches struggle more than here's an arbitrary number, now go charge that, is believing the value of what it's worth. When you believe that you're not worth the money that you're choosing to charge, you won't charge. I hear people from time to time say, well, I'm going to start for free and then I'll start charging. Very few people make that turn, because what you've done is you've assigned it its value. You're starting out where you are. Would you go to a doctor who said, listen, my first 50 clients are free and then I'm going to start charging? You'd be like, I want to be number 58. I do not want to be in the first 50, because you know they're not as serious as they would be if they were charging. When you charge somebody, there's a level of expectation that you have to deliver, and they expect it back. When you give it for free, they don't treat it right and you don't treat it right. It's just normal. It's just human psychology. Really, really good question there. Let's see here. Is there negative feedback from people saying for sessions if they have financial issues? Excuse me, I read that wrong. Forgive me, Chris. Is there negative feedback from people paying for sessions if they have financial issues? Well, really good question. People in America are broke, they're not poor. I haven't met hardly anybody. Anytime when you think we're poor, I always tell people, hey, go to your computer right now, pull up Calcutta, India, and then pull up your town, pull up images. Tell me what you see. Which one's poor, which one's broke? In America, even our poorest can have access to food and shelter tonight, guaranteed. Anywhere. Think about that. That doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. We're the only people who switch needs out for wants and vice versa. And so people's priorities are out of whack. Again, I have people who come to our church and say, hey, I need you to pay my $100 light bill, and they have a $200 cable bill. That's got to switch. Priorities are messed up for most Americans. So if you address the money issue and you don't address the priority issue, sure, yeah, it'll be an issue. But here's the other thing. In the absent, price is generally only an issue where value is absent, period. There's got to be value created there, okay? All right. When will you start the program? So the program is self-paced. So if you sign up right now, you can start right now. There is a difference between signing up and activating. So if you signed up today and like, I can't start till the 4th of July, no problem. Activate on 4th of July. You have a year from that date. So there you go, guys. So listen, I told you I'd give away an enrollment to this. Really happy to do that. And let me say this before I do that. There are people on here that absolutely love what we just talked about today. And I love y'all's questions. They love the premise. They may even not be ready yet, but they get it. And I love that. And there's also people on here that are like, I don't know if I like this. I don't know. I don't think I like this. And here's what I would say. That's okay. You need to find out what you want to do and what you believe in and what you're passionate about and what drives you, and go do that with everything you got. Me and you can still be friends and both go to heaven, and you not do this, and we're cool with that. We'll never twist anybody's arm into doing coach training or becoming a coach. But we do know that I hear this more than not, that people go, I've been thinking about something like this, and this put words to it. This put structure to it. And I'm interested in that. And so there you go. So if this is for you, we'd love to have you join us. If it's not, that's okay. Go find out what God put you on this planet to do, and do that with everything you got. I promise you it's out there. You just got to go look for it. So the person who won 1 year full access to Financial Coach Master Training, and they will take it. Don't email me if it's not your name saying if they don't take it, I'll take it. I'm joking. Is Derek Larson. Derek Larson, you are the winner of Financial Coach Master Training Online. Shoot me an email right there, my contact info. And guys, the same thing for y'all. If you have questions or want to email me or talk about your situation, let me know. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have via email or phone call. And I think I'm scheduling right now for next week. So if you have any questions, that email will probably be out in the next hour or two. And we'd love to have you be a part of our training if this is something you're passionate about and you have all that. Now you have everything that you want, okay? Everything you need to know about the training, and we appreciate your time, and y'all have a great rest of your week. Thanks.